Namaskar and welcome to StudyIQ. I am your friend Rahul Saigaonkar. The agenda for today's discussion is connected to Indian polity and governance, where we are going to discuss about RTI, Right to Information. Why we are discussing this? Because recently RTI has completed 18 years. On October 12, 2023, it has been 18 years since the implementation of RTI 2005. In this video lecture, we are going to analyze how far RTI has brought an impact on our country. Has it empowered Indian citizenry? Has it brought any change with reference to accountability in Indian governance? We'll try to answer all these questions. A small cautionary note, this is going to be a lengthy discussion, but a comprehensive one. Why we are having this discussion is because recently the Satark Nagarik Sangathan has released performance analysis of RTI in last year, and which shows a grim picture. It has been dismal performance in terms of the information commissions. So we'll try to understand what exactly is it. In fact, let's begin our discussion with a question. It has been 18 years since the landmark Right to Information Act 2005, which was considered as a key to good governance and public accountability. So you have to critically discuss if RTI has succeeded in its pursuit of bringing good governance in India. Now, to attempt this question, you will get very good fodder, very good content in this video lecture. To get to know that, stay with me till the very end. All right, let's begin. But before that, there is a small notice to all the UPSC civil services aspirants. StudyIQ's P2I Batch 1, its admission is closing in a few days. 15th October is the last date for you to enroll. Why should you enroll? Because this is the most comprehensive program where we will be hand-holding you through prelims, mains, and interview. Everything. It's a complete package with different validities. If you're preparing for 2024, it's valid. 25, 26, whatever year you're preparing, start early. Just visit our website, enroll, and I'll see you in the class. All right? Let's begin our discussion about RTI. Now, RTI is Right to Information. Now, what is this RTI? Now, you do understand right to information is considered considered as one of the basic rights for citizens, for individuals. Right to information, it gives the entitlement to the citizens to question the government. Say, for instance, I have a right. We have RTI 2005. It's a legal right to me that, say, government has announced that in front of Rahul's home, I'll make a road, right? So it was announced, say, in 2020. Nothing has happened till now. I asked the government, what is happening? You had announced, the funding has gone. What is the progress? Imagine if the road is made already, and if I'm not happy with the quality of the road, then question the government why the quality is like this. So you get to question the government. You get to ask for accountability from the government with respect to public functions. That is RTI. What does it do? First of all, it empowers you to ask questions. An informed citizenry is a sine qua non for any healthy democracy. And it also enhances the accountability from the government. In fact, it has been recognized as a basic right under the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1948 and also the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights in 1966. All right? In fact, it is fundamental to any governance. Let me just put a quote here which helps you. James Madison, he was the 4th president of United States of America. He gave a very good quote. He said, a popular government without popular information or the means of acquiring it is but a prologue to a farce or a tragedy, or perhaps both. I just love this quote, which says that a popular government has to give right to people to get or acquire that popular information or public information. And RTI as a movement, or RTI as a public means, as a public tool, it started way back in the Scandinavian countries. For the first time, Sweden brought the Freedom of Information Law in 1766. But for almost, I would say, more than 100 years, there was no traction on it. But the Scandinavian countries were later on the first ones to give this right to their citizens. Denmark brought it in 1950. Denmark in 1950, Finland again in 1950 itself. And after the UDHR, Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and the ICCPR 1966, slowly and steadily other countries also started to recognize freedom of information or right to information to their citizens. The US brought it in 1966. Many other countries brought it in 1970s, 18 Norway in 1970, if I'm not wrong, in 1980s, Australia and New Zealand, many democracies brought. UK, coincidentally, they also brought the Freedom of Information Act in 2005 when India also brought it. Now, in India, eventually, the right was recognized in 2005, but it was a very arduous journey. It was a journey filled with protest. It was a journey filled with, I would say, judicial tussle with the legislature or judicial tussle with the executive as well. In the Indian Constitution, there are two articles which I would say explicitly do not mention freedom of information, but implicitly they do suggest that we have some sort of right to information, especially Article 19 and Article 21. Article 19 is the freedom of speech and expression. Under that, we can say we have a right to freedom of information as well. Article 21, also right to life and personal liberty. That also has that essence or that component of right to information. In fact, Article 19 and 21 have been expanded a lot by the judiciary. If I can say that under Article 19, we have freedom of speech and expression. The freedom of press is also not mentioned, but the judiciary has extracted freedom of press from this article, isn't it? In the Ramesh Thapar case, in the Brij Bhushan case, the Supreme Court has suggested that we have freedom of press. In the later cases as well, the Indian Express case, the Bennett Coleman case, the Sakal newspaper case, so many case references I can give where right to press has been recognized. Under Article 21, our right to information has also been recognized earlier by judiciary. For the first time, right to information was held by judiciary in the Raj Nair versus State of Uttar Pradesh case 1975. In this case, the Supreme Court enunciated that the people of this country have right to know every public act, everything that is done in public way by a public functionary. And later on, I would say structure to that was given by judiciary in the SP Gupta versus President of India and others case 1982, where Supreme Court categorically highlighted that we have right to freedom of information under Article 21. It is fundamental itself. So till I would say 1980s, 1990s, we had a recourse from judiciary with respect to right to information. But till now, we did not have an entitlement or a legal right to get information from the government. And I told you, it has been an arduous journey. Why? Because people were involved. Mass movements, mass protests started demanding right to information. The spark started from Rajasthan. There was an organization, Mazdoor, or there is an organization, Mazdoor Kisan Shakti Sangathan. They, along with the National Commission for People's Right to Information and the Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative, they played a monumentous role in bringing right to information. Through these protests, the government was forced eventually to recognize freedom of information or right to information of individuals. Ultimately, in the year 2000, the NDA government, which was led by Atal Bihari Vajpayee at that time, they introduced Freedom of Information Bill. 2 years later, the Freedom of Information Act 2002 also came. However, it was never notified by the government in the Gazette. Although I can say 2002 Act was a precursor to RTI, but the 2002 Act did not specifically provided you the right to information. It mostly had provisions where the public functionaries were supposed to disclose more and more information. However, from the inputs by the NCPRI and the CHRI, the UPA first government, in 2005, they brought the landmark Right to Information Act. This has changed, I would say, the political landscape in our country. This has changed the governance landscape in India. Why I say political landscape? Because in the subsequent discussion, we will talk about how RTI has impacted the political landscape by unearthing different corruptions, which ultimately led to a change of government in 2014. And governance landscape has been changed because now we are all empowered to ask questions from the government, get accountability from them. So RTI came. RTI itself suggests that in its preamble, now please remember, preamble is not just for Indian Constitution. Preamble is a legal term. Every statute, every law has a preamble. So RTI also has a preamble which suggests that the act has been brought to provide a practical regime for right to information for its citizens. Please remember, from MCQ perspective, only citizens, they have the right to information. Okay, this is very important pointer for all of you. Now, when we look at the act, it sets out a practical regime for providing right to information to all the citizens. There are more than 20 sections to it. I would say 28 sections. But from exam perspective, the most important ones are these. Section 4, it calls for mandatory disclosure by the government or proactive disclosure by the government. Now, this is something where the government has to disclose a lot of information from their side, on their websites, on their official notes or the notice board, etc. That means the structure of the organization, who all are working, what are the grievance redressal mechanism, who are the public information officers, etc. All these things, they have to be disclosed proactively. Section 4. Section 8 can be considered as a black hole of RTI, where it provides certain exemptions. Although Section 8 suggests that there has to be minimum exemptions from public disclosure, but Section 8 Clause 1, it provides a list of exempted information. For example, say information which can threaten the security of India, the economic interests of India, or say scientific interests of India, or I cannot ask what was the discussion in the cabinet. I cannot ask any kind of information on which judiciary has put a stop. I cannot ask an information which has been provided by, say, a foreign government, which has been provided by foreign government by a guarantee that government will not disclose. I cannot ask such information. So there is a long list, and there are also some informations which are exempted, which are considered official secrets under the Official Secrets Act 1923. So these two are, I would say, opposite kind of sections. Apart from that, as I told you, RTI sets the practical regime for these rights. That means it calls for appointing of public information officer in every department under the public authorities. It calls for setting up appellate authorities who is a senior to this PIO. And then the Act also sets out institutions like the information commissions, the State Information Commission and the Central Information Commission. Apart from this, it also sets out penalty. That means if a PIO fails to provide me information, then every day he will be fined 250 rupees, and the maximum fine can be 25,000 rupees for that particular PIO. All right. So these are certain important provisions, and RTI basically sets out a practical regime for my right to information. Apart from this, there is one more important thing that you need to know: the institution that it sets. As I told you, there is already a PIO who would be appointed. Every department must have a public information officer, or it can be an assistant PIO as well in the sub departments. Above this PIO, there would be a senior from the department who would be appointed as appellate authority, where the first appeal lies. Apart from that, the Act sets out the Central Information Commission and the State Information Commission. The Central Information Commission shall have a Chief Information Commissioner along with maximum 10 information commissioners. These are appointed by the President of India. They are appointed by the recommendations of a selection committee. The selection committee will tell the president. The selection committee consists of Prime Minister, Leader of Opposition, and a cabinet minister who is nominated by the president, Prime Minister himself. Not the president, Prime Minister. This is the setup. Apart from this, at the state level, correspondingly, the governor appoints the State Information Commissioner, the Chief State Information Commissioner, and the other information commissioners. Maximum can be 10 on the recommendation of Chief Minister, Leader of Opposition from the Assembly, and State Cabinet Minister nominated by the Chief Minister. Now, question comes up, sir, what is the term, etc. for these people? Now, earlier, the term was specifically mentioned in Section 13 and Section 16 of this Act as 5 years and 65 years for the retirement, 5 years term, not eligible for reappointment. All right. But these have been changed in 2019 by an amendment, and it simply mentions now the terms of the office of these information commissions will be set by the central government and the government respectively. It says that the term, along with salary, allowances, and other terms of service, they shall be prescribed by the central government. In fact, in this particular act, it was changed to some extent. Why? Because see, the Chief Information Commissioner was equivalent to the Chief Election Commissioner, and the information commissioners, they were equivalent to the election commissioners. But now, after the amendment, the Chief Information Commissioner is equivalent to the election commissioners, and the information commissioners, they are now equivalent to the Chief Secretary. That means in terms of salary, in terms of all these things, these changes were made. Again, they were heavily criticized in 2019 because they, to some extent, hurt the independence of CIC and the SICs. Okay, this is the basic setup. Now, if you have a question, sir, I want to file RTI. So what can I do? Now, if you are a citizen, what you are supposed to do is you are supposed to identify the PIO and the public authority which has the data. Okay, so you can file a handwritten RTI, or you can directly go to rtionline.nic.in and you can file your RTI. Now, RTI can be filed simply that I want information. As I told you, I want information that in front of my home a road is not made. Why? It was announced. Why it was not made? So you can draft your RTI. The first step is draft your RTI. Remember, RTI drafting has to be either in Hindi or in English, in very precise and concise language. Specific questions should be asked. Specificity is important. The limit for drafting is 500 words for the RTI. Now, once you draft it, you send it to the PIO. You send it to the Public Information Officer concerned. When the PIO gets the receipt, if it is offline, they will tell you this would be your fees. Fees depends on say what kind of information is provided. You have the right to information to access the documents, to get a floppy, CD, pen drive, etc. Get the document online as well. Apart from that, you can even inspect the samples and the materials. Along with that, get certified copies from the PIO. But the charges may vary, right? For online information, of basic information, the charges are 10 rupees for the RTI application. Any additional fees can be charged depending on what kind of information you're seeking. If you're seeking many documents, then they can charge you, depending on states, 50 rupees, 100 rupees, 200 rupees. All right. And for below poverty line people, no charges at all. Now, once the PIO gets the application, he has to dispose of that application within 30 days. He has to provide you information within 30 days. Say yes or no. All right. Give the information within 30 days. Now, if it is extremely important information, say connected to life and death, in such scenarios, there are clauses in the act where the information must be provided in 48 hours. All right. Now, if he provides information, that is well and good. Imagine the PIO says no to you. The PIO says no to you. There is no information, or provides you, say, wrong information, gives you information after 30 days, etc. Then you can complain or you can appeal to the appellate authority. You can go to the appellate authority. Now, the appellate authority, they will listen to your case, and if it has any merit, then they will proceed. And appellate authority does not have any provisions or any powers to fine the PIO. They will pass a verdict within 45 days, maximum 45 days. Now, if the appellate authority verdict you do not like it, or you want to challenge it, then from the appellate authority, you can challenge it directly to the Information Commission concerned. It can be State Information Commission under the state law again, or Central Information Commission concerned. From appellate authority, you can directly go to IC or the CIC. All right. Again, the time limit for this disposal is not mentioned. Remember, the disposal by appellate authority is 45 days. There is no mention of time limit within which these people have to dispose of their cases, and that is a big issue. Again, you have been given a limit. That means from moving to appellate to the appeal, you have to go within 90 days of this particular verdict. So on the citizen, there are certain obligations that within some time you have to go for appeal, or if you want to complain. See, appeal is for any case regarding information. Complaint is with respect to non-implementation of RTI. Say, imagine the department in my city, it does not have a PIO. I can complain that there is no PIO. Regarding information appeal, regarding non-implementation of RTI, it's connected to complaint. So that is the basic procedure. All right. So it would be a quasi-judicial proceeding. Now, if you ask me a question, sir, I have gone through the appellate authority, then the Information Commission as well. I am not happy with the verdict. Then where can I go? Now, you can go to the High Court. Remember, lower courts are barred from looking into any complaints regarding RTI. You can directly go to High Courts because there is already a mechanism of appeal provided. So go to High Court if you do not like the verdict of Information Commissions. That's the basic setup. All right. Now comes a question. Sir, I have understood everything about RTI. It was very comprehensive detail. Now, I want to understand how RTI has performed in the last 18 years. First, we'll talk about achievements. RTI has achieved a lot. As I told you, RTI has empowered Indian citizenry. RTI has ushered in an era of, I would say, at least enhanced accountability regarding governance. It has. It has ensured accountability every day. See, with through election, I get accountability every 5 years. But through RTI, I can ask question to the government each and every day. File multiple RTIs, no issues. In fact, I would request the aspirants of UPSC Civil Service Examination to file an RTI during your preparation. You will get a lot to know from that experience. All right. Now, apart from that, RTI has promoted openness in the governance. Yes, it has promoted to a large extent. But two biggest achievements of RTI, I would say, is the RTI activism that has come and unearthing of corruption in the government. Since 2005, RTI activism has continuously been on rise. There are many RTI activists today who are working tirelessly to enhance accountability and to make the government more transparent. And through this RTI activism itself, I can say many corruption scams have been unearthed. The other scam, the 2G scam, so many different scams. As I told you, what is the political impact of this? I would say because of unearthing of many scams, the 2G scam, the Colgate scam, this scam, that scam, what happened? There was a change in the political landscape. It had impact on the election as well in 2014. Since then, we have not seen coalition governments at the center. From the accountability perspective, yes, it has enhanced accountability because it has given me a right-based regime to implement or to ask questions to the government to bring accountability in their public function. Now, despite all these achievements, I would say there are many issues that are going on with the right to information. Now, from exam perspective, I'd like to explain those issues by broadly classifying them under logistical issues, procedural issues, and implementation based issues. Now, we'll be focusing on these two from the report of the SNS, but there are a lot of logistical issues. Logistical issues means inherent problem with the government and its data maintenance. What happens is in many government departments, the data is not maintained in a good quality. There is a problem of incomplete and inaccurate information provided by PIO many times because they say we do not have information. We do not have information. The maintenance of records is a problem in our country. There is ineffective record management system. Apart from that, there is an issue with respect to awareness among public. Why I put it in logistical issues is because people, they need to be aware that you have the power of RTI. If you ask any person, do you know what is RTI? Have you ever filed RTI? The answer would be no, or it would be seldom yes, right? These are the problems that we need to rectify. Apart from that, there are some procedural issues. First of all, regarding Section 8. Now, this Section 8 can be considered as the black hole of RTI, where many a times you file an RTI, the PIO simply says, I cannot provide you information as under Section 8. No explanation, nothing. A single line reply by the PIO. Supreme Court in multiple cases has given many verdicts that the secrecy clause has to be used in exceptional cases. And the secrecy clause is also, I would say, guided by the time limit. That means if the government says that an information which is available with the government, which is say connected to 1960s, and they say it is a secret. Now, through this, the CIC has also given many verdicts to release the controversial files regarding, say, there are so many questions, say, with respect to Netaji's death, Shastriji's death, right? So people filed questions and still a question mark over them. Right? That's one of the issues. Apart from that, this appointment is a huge problem. We'll dissect that a little, right, in some time, because we'll be going through the report. And there is dilution of Act in 2019, especially when I said that now everything is with the central government. The amount of protection with the CIC and the SICs, they are now, I would say, more and more dependent on the central government and the government, state governments, who frame the rules and regulations regarding their employment. So this hampers their impartiality and independence a little. Apart from that, we have many problems with respect to implementation. There are huge pendency of cases. We'll talk about this as well because the report highlights both these issues. Apart from that, there is a problem of enforceability. Now, what is the meaning of this? First of all, it creates two independent offices. There is State Information Commission, Central Information Commission, independently working. It's not integrated like the judiciary. Apart from that, imagine the Chief Information Commission or the CIC gives a verdict, and I say, no, I will not follow that verdict. Then what? Do they have contempt of court? Do they have any powers? No. All right. So in many cases, this happened. Say, for example, people filed many RTIs with respect to the functioning of political parties. The Chief Information Commission, it suggested that political parties can be considered as public authority under Section 2H of the RTI Act. And the political parties, they did not comply. Then what? So enforceability of these verdicts by the information commissions, that still is a challenge. Apart from that, there is no supplementary protection. Now, this is very, very important, especially for the RTI activists. For the RTI activists. Now, you will see that there are so many cases where many activists have been murdered, right? In UP, in Uttarakhand, RTI activists were mauled by JCB and different trucks and tractors. Why? Because they unearthed some sort of scam. They unearthed the sand mafia. They unearthed some sort of mafia, the coal mafia, sand mafia. There is no protection to these RTI activists. Yes, there is to some extent Whistleblower Protection Act, but still there is no supplementary protection which is available for the RTI activists. And in fact, this is one of the black spots on the implementation of RTI, I would say. Since 2005, in the last 18 years, more than 250 RTI activists have been murdered because they sought information which led to unearthing of different corruption and no safety for them. This is the issue. Apart from that, as I told you, recently, the Satark Nagarik Sangathan in October 2023, they released a report which gives a very grim picture with respect to the implementation. It says that the vacancies with the commission are extremely high in states. In some states like Jharkhand, Tripura, Telangana, the information commissions are completely defunct. That means they are not available at all. In the Chief Information Commission and the information commissions in Manipur, Chhattisgarh, Maharashtra and Punjab, right now they do not have any head. That means they do not have Chief Information Commissioner. That means there is an issue with appointment. Apart from that, several information commissions are severely understaffed. They do not have complete capacity. So what the government is doing? There is a question with respect to appointments, which is still a problem at the center level, mind you, at the center level and at the state levels as well. Apart from this, when you look at the pending appeals, it is huge. The number of pending appeals, it stands as on 30th June 2023 to be 3,21,537, more than 3 lakh cases in the information commissions. Look at that. And this report, it has analyzed that the top one is Maharashtra, where more than 1 lakh cases are pending. Next is Karnataka. The top three are Maharashtra, Karnataka, Uttar Pradesh. And then if you look at this CIC, the Chief Information Commission itself has more than 20,000 cases, appeals and complaints pending in front of them. And this report also talks about how much time they will take to dispose it of. And this is very interesting. How much time will it take to dispose it of? According to this report, West Bengal, the amount of cases that they have to dispose them of, according to their performance till now, they will take about 24 years, 1 month. This is not a mistyping or anything. 24 years and 1 month. The other states, on an average, they will need 1 to 5 years approximately to clear off these cases. And please remember, during this, more and more RTIs would also be filed, isn't it? So the performance or the implementation has been quite dismal. Year after year, the problems are still galore. Even after 18 years, same issues remain. Apart from that, penalties in general, as I told you, penalties can be imposed on the public information officers, but the assessment by SNS, it says that the information commissions, they have imposed very little penalty. Only in small fraction of cases, the PIOs have been penalized. If the PIOs are not penalized for not doing the duty, then how would RTI be implemented in a better manner? Isn't that the core question of today's discussion? So these are some of the issues, and now you do know what we have to do, right? That is why whenever I teach, right, whenever we analyze any topic, I say once we have dissected the topic, once we have analyzed the issues, the solution is fairly simple. What is the solution? We need good data management techniques in our country, and these days more and more data in electronic form is being sought. So we need proper record management systems, both online as well as offline. Along with it, since we are moving more and more towards online, we need to have a backup or some sort of offline data as well. Apart from that, if there is a secrecy exemption, that has to be eliminated. In fact, the Law Commission has also highlighted that the Official Secrets Act, it is obsolete, but still no action has been taken. Apart from that, if appointments are not happening, then in the act itself, time bound appointments have to be done. All right, or the president or the governor can be given some sort of discretionary power here, that if for 1 year the appointment has not happened, then you appoint using your discretion. Apart from that, if there is a problem with implementation, then bring requisite changes in the rules and regulations, that the cases have to be disposed of. As I told you, the problem is here that you have a limit to file an appeal at the Information Commission within the 90 days after the verdict comes from appellate authority, but there is no limit to dispose of that case by the Information Commission. Don't you think such things have to come? All right. Again, for enforceability, we have to go from CIC to High Court, and in High Court itself, lakhs of cases are pending. So these are some of the issues. Overall, to sum up the discussion, yes, RTI has been a landmark legislation. In fact, I would say it has been a watershed moment in the Indian political history itself, or Indian legislative history for that matter. But has it been implemented in letter and spirit? That is the question that beckons in front of us after 18 years still. Let's hope that when we analyze RTI, probably say at the 20th year, 25th year, hopefully we do not see these problems. Now, with that note, let me end my discussion. I hope this interaction was fruitful for you. I had given a cautionary note. This is going to be a little lengthy, but I hope that you have got enough fodder regarding RTI and you'll be ready for any kind of question on it. Thank you again for watching this. Jai Hind.